Hi, I'm Jessica from Jessica Wanders, and this is an update on my garden, my backyard garden. It's still pretty cold up here in Canada, but there's lots of stuff that I can get into the garden. So we're going to talk about seeds I'm starting, stuff I'm putting in the ground, seeds I'm starting in the ground, and that kind of stuff. If you're new here, I'll leave a link to the entire playlist of my gardening playlist if you want to check it out from the beginning. And if you like the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more gardening videos from me. So here is an update on how much food can I grow in my backyard garden. And I'm thinking that there are birds making a nest in this nest box here. Just house sparrows, but they're pretty cute. They get mad at me when I come out into the garden.
So where I live, inoculant for peas and beans has been harder to come by. I heard one reason was that they felt somebody, whoever they is, felt that it was being overused or something. So I can't find it in the stores right now. And last year I didn't have any inoculant either, and I found that sort of the survival rate of my peas was lower. So on the back of the package, it says, to keep the seed from rotting, start some seeds indoors on a moist paper napkin, and when the seed coat splits and a root emerges, transfer to the garden. So that's what I'm going to try. I just have these old, I think they were like spinach trays, just to make it easy. I'm going to do approximately half in one and half in the other one. So I'm just going to put some moist paper towels down. There we go. Okay, moist paper towel. Check approximately half of these seeds. I'll spread them out as best I can. Okay, I'm going to cover them with more moist paper towels. So this, in theory, is supposed to keep them from rotting in the ground. It's really dry in my house, so I'll check these every day to make sure that they are not dried out, keep them moist, and they should sprout, I don't know, approximately 7 days maybe. Despite my slow start, I am still going to try and see what we can come up with from starting from seeds. And right now I'm also going to be starting my pepper seeds. For space this year, I'm just going to grow some yellow and some red onions. These are red wing and these are early yellow globe. I need about 30 of each of these. So I'm going to use two of these for each type of onion. So these will be yellow and these will be red. I'm going to do 4 seeds in each of these little spaces. So 4 times 4 is 16, times 2 is 32 of the yellow and 32 of the red. I can get 5 in each cell, just in case some don't make it. So the silly way that I keep track of which cells have which seeds in them is I mark my trays with a little heart or an axe or something in one corner, and then I draw little keys to the seed trays. There's my little X. Now I can make a drawing, messy or whatever. And I make all of the seed cells in the tray. These two here are
Red wing. These are red wing. These are yellow globe. So low techy. Next, I'm going to plant some of these dwarf green curled kale. I could plant these out into the garden, but the bed that they're going in isn't quite ready yet. So I'm just going to start them inside. It says you can just start them outside as well, but you can start them indoors and transplant them later. I'm just going to do one of these with 4 of them in there. I might plant 2 seeds in each one just in case they don't all germinate. Sometimes it's good to have fingernails. Maybe I should call this video, Can We Save the Day? Because I'm so late with the garden. In Canada, things are definitely a bit later than in most places in the United States. Like, I was just supposed to start my peppers, seeding my peppers like a week or 2 ago. So I'm that much late on my peppers, and I know people down south have been growing them for months. Some stuff I've missed, like celery and artichokes. I didn't get them started in January, but I think lots of it I can save. Also going to start these Brussels sprouts. It says to plant them 6 to 8 weeks before the last frost. We're about 5 weeks right now. So, you know, it's close. So I'm going to plant an entire tray of these Brussels sprouts. So I'm going to plant 2 seeds in each soil, and I'll thin to the strongest of the 2 plants. So I'm going to plant 8 altogether. These particular seeds are great because they have a seed coating on them, which makes them really easy to see. Look how pink they are. They're so great. Oops. The other thing that I'm planting today is cabbages. I want 8 strong heads of cabbage. So I'm probably going to do 2 of these. So like those 2, these 2 will be cabbages. I'm going to plant 2 seeds in each little cell and then thin to the strongest plant of each pair. And I'm also going to plant broccoli. I'm only going to do 1 tray, and I'm going to plant 2 seeds in each tray and thin to 1 each, so I'll have 4 plants of this broccoli green sprouting. The cabbage that I'm going to grow is this Danish ball head. So that's what we're going to do for cabbage. And this one is the broccoli. I find that with our weather, it gets hot so fast, but the heads don't get that big. But yeah, we'll try again. I'm not gonna try cauliflower this year because every time I try, it really fails, and I'm not up to it this year for trying again. It puts out, once you harvest the main head, it does put out lots of little side shoots that make little tiny broccolis, and that's fine for the rest of the summer. You can harvest it for a long time. So same thing, make holes, plant seeds. I've just been hearing that our particular river has got a really high snowpack, and it's been really cold and not very melty. So we've got a lot of snowpack up there, and they think there might be a risk of flooding in my area. So this might all be for naught. It might just all get washed away like the people in Merritt last year. But we can't not try. I have to keep trying. Even with the heat waves and the floods, we have to just keep trying, because what else are you going to do, right? Now the broccoli, the seeds look almost the same as all the other cabbages and stuff. Dropping seeds. Ah. Just so you know, it was just snowing here like 2 seconds ago. So it's barely spring here. I've got 3 more cell spaces and I'm gonna plant some tomatoes. So I've got these Roma Organics. They're my kind of paste tomato, and I'm gonna fill these 2 cells. I think I need 10 plants, so I'm gonna put 2 in each one of these cells, and I'll end up obviously with 8, 16, and then we'll go from there. Okay, this is a very old seed packet, so the germination should be quite low if I'm gonna really try to overseed. So I'll put 2 holes, but I'll put 2 seeds in each hole in each one of these cells. So there'll be 4 seeds in each one of these, and then I'll just thin them as they sprout. The other thing that I'm gonna plant is these cherry tomatoes. I've got these yellow pear-shaped. They're so cute and yummy. I only want 4 plants of cherry tomatoes. There's lots. I love these sun gold. They're like an orange one. And then I'm gonna plant these sweetie tomatoes. They're just pretty standard and very prolific. 6 to 8 weeks before transplanting. I don't transplant these until 2 weeks after the last frost. So like May 20th sometimes. We call it May long weekend. And then this Sweet Million is a really good producer as well here. And again, you wanna start the transplants indoors March to April. I know this doesn't look like very much to look at. One day, well after probably planting season in the United States, of course. So it seems like I'm really late and you guys all have your plants in the ground, but it's Canada up here, you guys. You just gotta wait for me. I really have the most problems with thinning the seeds that I grow. Like if they all come up, I have problems intentionally killing plants, and sometimes I'll just find spaces to put them in the garden in various places, in pots and stuff like that. Because I just feel like, you know what, you came up, you showed up, why I have trouble killing them. And then we end up like with so many tomatoes like we did last year. Ew. No more snow. This isn't great. Come on, spring sprung. Okay, I'm gonna put these sweeties in here. And the way that I've marked it out on the chart is I've divided that 1 cell tray into 4 sections, 1, 2, and then I'll mark it like 3 and 4. It's hard to write and film at the same time. And then I write it out down here for that tray, what the different types are. I'm gonna put sweetie in these 2 here. But I don't have very many seeds of these sun gold. So I'm going to be a little more frugal with planting these because they're my favorite tomato. And then the yellow pear-shaped. This is what the seeds look like. They're very small. I'm only going to plant 2 seeds per hole in this section here. 3 seeds per hole in there. That's what happened. And I like to water from the bottom, so I'm going to fill the bottom up with some water and then put a cover on it and let the soil get moist. Make sure that the water that you put in your seed tray isn't too cold, because we've got really cold water coming out of the taps right now, and that's from the river, and it's like snow melt. And then we're just gonna cover it up. And put it on a heating pad carefully because it's got a lot of water in the bottom right now. And I plugged the heating
heating mat in, but I don't need the lights on right now because nothing has sprouted. So when it sprouts, I'll turn the lights on. This is the stuff that I bought this year. I'm gonna do the same thing and build a tray of my peppers and the last tomatoes. So I use these Amish paste tomatoes, mostly Moneymaker. I find they do well in my garden. And then I grow a couple of these Amish paste tomatoes. They are quite big. And I'm only gonna grow one of these heirloom beefsteak tomatoes because I don't really use them as much as I think I'm going to, and sometimes I grow way too many plants. Anyways, peppers. When I went over my seeds, we went over what peppers that I grow, but quickly, red hot cherries, paprika, Hungarian yellow hot, those are hot ones. And then I also do the regular banana peppers, habaneros, nardellos, orange bell peppers, and then regular bell peppers, jalapenos, cayennes. These are Hungarian cheese. They're like a bigger version of these red hot cherries. They're just not quite as hot. And then these chili darbles. Yeah, so I'm gonna plant those in there, and I'm gonna make a chart about where I put all the pepper seeds so that I know what it is when it's coming up. Planting seeds is probably not very interesting to film, but pretty soon we're gonna have greenery, I promise. So here is the little diagram that I made of all the peppers that I planted. I was able to squeeze some marigolds. There's some tomatoes, Amish paste, and then that stands for West Coast Seeds, Moneymakers, and then Amherst Moneymakers. I had two different kinds. And then if it says, I made a chart here, if it says saved seeds, that means those are my own saved seeds and from different years here. So if I couldn't fit it in there, I made a little key table over here to see what I've planted. There we go. That was the pepper tray. That's habanero, red habaneros. What else? What else did I abbreviate? Chili darble. Well, like I said, low ticky-tacky. So these are my Softneck garlic from last year that I just have braided. And I'm gonna get about 40 of them and plant them for this year's Softneck garlic. They're a bit late getting into the garden this year, but I think they'll be okay. I probably did like 5 or 6 cloves. I don't know, I got so much garlic last year. I mean, I feel pretty good about it. I think if I have a lot extra, I can make garlic powder in the dehydrator, so I think that's something that I'm gonna do. And each one of these garlics will grow a new head of garlic. I did pretty well last year, but you never know when you're gonna have a bad year of something. So I like to grow what I can when I can. Whatever does well, it's great. You have extra for the following year. Hedging your bets. There we go, I think that's enough. Okay, I've had some stuff going on the past couple of weeks, so I'm pretty far behind in the garden. We went and picked up some stuff from the garden supply store. I got some onion starts because I'm gonna be really late putting these seeds in. So these ones will just come out earlier. I've got some red onion starts, some yellow onion starts, and some shallots as well. So this is what they look like. I find that onions grown from starts just don't store as well. So I like to have mine grown from seed. We'll see if I can get them going. I got way too many. The shallots are huge. but I really enjoyed them last year. I've actually got the second year shallots coming up in the garden. They overwintered, so they'll probably go to seed this year. And then these yellow, just regular yellow onion starts. They just look like this. The other thing was that I didn't have leftover red potatoes for seeding or Yukon Gold, but I do have russet potatoes. These are my sad looking russet potatoes that I'm gonna put in the garden, and they'll do just fine. So yeah, that's good enough. These are the other things that I got. I've trimmed them a couple of times. Green bunching onions, so I don't have to start those from seed. These look really nice. Also, leeks would have had to start. I would have had to start them in January, and I didn't. So it's just really easy to buy leeks. And again, I've trimmed these up. So the trip to the garden supply store cost me $48.72, and that was for the potatoes, Yukon Gold, the Norland, the multiplier, and shallot onions, and then the bulk scoops of onion seeds. They only cost $8. That's super cheap. And this here would be some soil that we bought, 3 bags at $5.99. All right, today we are gonna plant some onions. I have my toucan, as you can see in my shadow, and I've got my sandals on. Very Canadian. Sandals and toques for all kinds of weather. We're gonna take a walk out to the garden where some things are starting to grow. Those are onions left over from last year. Here are my garlic chives. Here's shallots from last year. And I've got some more shallots that I'm gonna plant into there soon. But what we're gonna do right now is back in this corner, I am going to plant about 30 onion sets in this 3 foot by 2.5 foot block. And then I'm gonna do the same thing with these yellow onion sets as well. So I'm going to take out the best looking ones, nice and plump and fat, and then plant them pointy side up. Yeah, 30 here. It's the same as square foot gardening, says 4 per square foot, which works out to the same in this space, 30 either way. Square foot gardening or just regular spacing, I end up with 30 onions in this 3 foot by 2.5 foot block, or 4 approximately per square foot. I'm just gonna spread these ones out too. Look for the fattest, juiciest ones, and I'm gonna plant them with the pointy side up once I spread them out. This one's sprouting a little bit. These are second year shallots. Hopefully I'll get some seeds off of them, but I also bought some more. They're huge. They look like this, and you just plant them like onions, pointy side up. And we're just gonna put some triple mix in here.
Triple mix is manure, peat, and compost.
Manure, peat, and compost. So we could make that if we made enough compost, but we don't make quite enough compost for the whole garden, for what we add at the beginning of the season every year. We could just buy peat and manure and add compost to it. We do add some of our own compost. Shallots. Shallots. Worms. These are also shallots that came up after last year. And we're just gonna kind of clean up and prep around them. I don't think I've ever left shallots in the ground for 2 years. Obviously, I think that I'll get seeds. These ones look smaller than the other ones. This is the lovely garlic bed that we put in probably November last year. We prepped the bed before we planted it, put in the compost and the manure and the peat before we planted these garlic. I'm really happy. We've got lots coming up. I'm really hoping that we don't get a really late frost, like hard frost, and that they do well. These are my hardneck garlics. The type that I plant is called Music. All right, this is mostly gonna be our potato bed, but I'm gonna do some rows of garlic to mark between the beds. And this is Softneck garlic, and these are just my garlic that I saved from last year. I'm gonna plant again this year. So this bed is 4 by 16. I'm gonna put 12 of these garlics. I'm gonna pick the biggest ones and plant them just like the onions, pointy side up, and I'm gonna put 12 across the 4-foot bed. So I just lay out my potatoes in the space that I have. I wasn't sure I was gonna have, but the bag had exactly 12 potatoes. I thought I was gonna cut, and you can cut the potatoes as long as you have little eyes on each piece that you're gonna plant, but I had exactly 12 potatoes in the bag, and that's how many I'm planting. So in they go, just dig and plant. I actually did just cut one because I also want one in my experiment garden bed over here. So he's gonna go in the garden over here. This is a different bed that I want to see how much I can grow in this size bed. I want to dig it down as low as you can go, for sure. And exactly a square foot in this experimental bed, I shall plant this potato. Dig a giant hole. It's got some nice eyes on it growing up. There's my potato. And I'm gonna fill it up with water just so it gets off to a good start. We've already prepped these beds, so it already has the triple mix and the manure and everything in it. And I just fill my hole. And then kind of dig it up so that I know it's in there, and I will continue to add dirt as it grows, the potato grows. I'm gonna put another potato there and some garlic. I'm gonna put 9 little garlics in between these potatoes that I'm planting in this experimental garden bed area. There we go, garlic. That potato was a Yukon Gold, and I'm gonna plant a Norland Red on this side. And this is a red potato saved from last year, and it's already started really sprouting. So put him down there. Hopefully he does well. Sun has come out, and of course everybody's out doing yard work. I'm gonna plant these broad Windsor beans and this section here beside the potatoes in the front of the bed here. They're very big, so I think I'll just get them all in there and hope they do okay, because we don't have any inoculant. I have a lot of different radish seeds, but what I have found is that they the best one, the one that does the best, is this Scarlet Globe. So this year, this is what I'm gonna plant. Now I am gonna plant a 3-foot by 2-foot section in the experimental garden bed. And now square foot gardening would put them at 16 radishes per square foot, which would mean it would be almost 100 radishes in that space. I have found they don't do well when they're that crowded. Yeah, so regular spacing, I got 9 by 6 rows. I think it's 54 seeds. So I'm gonna make 6 rows approximately. Probably I usually fall somewhere in between regular spacing and square foot gardening. I've found that I can't go as dense as the square foot gardening suggests, but I can go a little bit more than just regular spacing in the raised garden beds. This is the space I want to put some radishes all the way to about here. This handy thing is about 1 foot, so 2 feet by 3 feet across. And I'm just gonna make some little rows. Radishes are really fast. They'll be done in a month or in a couple of months. And then I can put something else here. So I'm just gonna kind of sprinkle them in some rows. And see how we do. And I have this 2-foot square grow bag that I got. I'm going to fill up one of the squares with radishes, and I'm going to leave a little bit of space on the end for a small row of turnips as well. But I'm going to fill up most of this square with radishes. And the square foot gardening says 16 radishes. So I'm gonna plant 4 rows of 4 and leave a little bit of extra space over here for turnips. And I'll just pull the turnips out when they're really small. I think I'm gonna use these white turnips in this section here of the bag. I'm gonna plant a lot of spinach and then kind of half a row or 1 row of these lettuce, these ruby lettuce, and some of these Grand Rapids in here. I have a 2.5 foot wide bed by 3 foot section to plant kohlrabi in this year. So I'm gonna do 4 rows and just kind of space them properly. The square foot gardening says so there's the kohlrabi there, and then I'm going to finish up the rest of the bed all the way to those onions down there with spinach. About 4 rows I'm going to do, same as the kohlrabi, and just space them out. This is the rhubarb coming up. Pretty soon, strawberry rhubarb. That's it for this update. Here's another birdhouse that the sparrows are, I think, are trying to make nests in on and off. They seem to be fighting over this house, but we've had sparrows make nests and have babies in this nesting box before, so I'm kind of excited about it. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up. I'll post links to the entire playlist from the gardening series and maybe my Wander Harvest Cook series that will be starting up again as soon as I have stuff to cook from in the garden. So thanks for being here. I hope you enjoy the video. Thanks, guys.